Okay.
How's been your day?
No, the day was okay. I don't know with you.
No, it was fine. We can start. This program is a time bus. And my apologies, I haven't been around. I've been quite busy. I'm still busy,
Yeah, no,
but
uh,
I think I was so busy, and moving about. Yeah, but thank God I'm around now. I'm in the country, and I think it's just right that we continue the program. But my apologies, however.
no, it is understood.
Sure. Memory, how are you?
Yeah.
Good evening, Coach. How are you?
I'm okay. It has been a very, I understand it has been a very busy period for all of us.
Yes.
Yeah, but you don't need to stop what we want to do in life. Always we need to find a bit of some time, regardless of whatever time it is. I think the most important thing is progress. They say
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter which mode of transport you use. Uh, you can decide to crawl, you can decide to walk, you can decide to fly. So I think we have been crawling, and we need to see better ways of actually moving a bit faster. I'm sure from crawling we'll actually start walking. Yeah, but it has been a very busy period for a number of us, particularly myself. I've been extremely busy. Yeah. So you remember last time we needed to look at this part on options and basic functions. We couldn't do that because of the internet. The internet wasn't that good. At least now I've decided to have a backup. If my Airtel doesn't work, I go to Zamtel. I have a MiFi now. Congrats to me. So we first needed to look at the options, formula options. It doesn't matter. You can have 3, 4, 5 financial modelers. They get the same thing, but using different formulas. And I must have actually explained, maybe not in depth because of the internet challenges that we had. So we'll start with the first one. Before we do that, I did explain to you on relative referencing, absolute referencing, and mixed referencing. If you have a dollar sign before a letter, in this case F, which is basically a column, all you're doing, you're actually locking a column. So that dollar sign is not money, it's basically locking or anchoring. So in this case, that dollar sign, because it's coming before a column, and after the letter, there is no dollar sign. So it means that you are leaving your row free flowing, but your column is anchored. How would I actually explain it? Let's say you have these numbers.
Wait, I'm unable to see. It's minimized.
Is it minimized on my side? Maybe it's just your laptop, your screen that is minimized. Memory, can you confirm?
I think it's Emmanuel's screen that's minimized. I can see a full screen from here.
Screen, Emmanuel.
All right, let me try to. Oh yeah, it's going now. It is well. Thank you.
So, for example, you have something like this. let's say this side you have your quantities, and in there you have your price, and you want to calculate how much it is. There's no need for you to do it. You may do it after we are done, because obviously I'm going to post this. I just want you to understand what I'm trying to say, or what I've already said. So you want to get your revenues. Here where you have your price, we are actually saying you lock this times. There you actually lock your column, your row, sorry. Oh, sorry. So what I'm doing here, the dollar sign before the column for this first part of the formula, which is the K15, it is actually locking the column. The dollar sign after the letter L, it is actually locking the row. So what I'm doing, if I do like this, if I come in here and I go to trace precedence, it will show that it's picking this and that. It is not picking this. It's not picking this and that. No. So if I go in here, you'll see that this is what it's doing. Because what I've done, I've locked this just to move in this direction. I've also locked this other component just to move in this direction. So when I lock a row, I want the movements to only happen horizontally. If I lock the column, I want movements to only happen vertically. This is what we are doing here. If I decide out of expedience, if I decide out of experience, I lock this absolutely, meaning that I have a dollar sign before a letter and the dollar sign after a letter. It means that I've locked both the column and the row. So this number is not going to move in anywhere, or that cell is not going to move in any way. Then I come in here and do the correct thing. I lock the row. So if I pick these numbers, guys, so you see what is happening. If I come in here, it will show that it will point to this. This is where it's going to point. It will point there, and it will also point here. Why? Because I locked this, I anchored that. But I made sure that the rows were moving. It was moving horizontally. It was moving, horizontally. It wasn't moving vertically because I have anchored this. It's like getting a boat just by the river shore and you tie it to maybe to a tree or something like that. So if I come here and press precedence, you'll see that you hit there and there. This is what it is doing. So those dollar signs, they are not just there for fashion. They're important in anchoring or locking your intended sales. So if you have $, meaning here, you have actually locked both row and column. This is what you have done. If you have a $sign after the column, you have just locked a row. And you need to know why you're doing that. So now we come to this. Here, we want to grow these sales. We're forecasting from 2011. If I wanted, I would say 2022 there, and do this, guys, which we did last time before the internet failed us. We want to forecast from 2023 to 2027. Again, another tricky, guys. Usually, people, when they come up with something like this, they want to show that these are forecast periods from 2023 to 2027. They will type 2023, then put an F. But sometimes that may not be the most smarter way of doing it. You'd want to leave the numbers as is, but you customize them. How do you do it? Let's do it together. You have those numbers, you highlight all the numbers. Then you press Control-1. Control-1. It will take you to number. Go to custom. Here under custom, I have general, which shows the sample, which is 2023. Or I can do from that general, I just type F like this. So it will show 2023 F. It is not a text. I've just formatted that number or that cell to have an F, symbolizing that it's a forecast. If I wanted, I would type E. Instead of typing E, I would do like this. I would say inverted comma, E inverted comma, meaning that I'm saying 2023 estimate. You see these credit rating agencies, and mostly the one that does that, it should be Moody. When they are doing their forecasting, they will not use an F, they will use an E. So when you see the numbers, 2023E, 2024E, even I think EU, is it EIU? Economic Intelligence E unit. So you know for sure that those numbers are estimates. Others would actually put a P like this, showing their projections. Be smart in the way you format your thing. Like I said, here all you do, you press Control-1, Control and 1 at the same time. Or you hold Control, then press 1. So you highlight and press Control, hold Control and press 1. It might take a bit of time. Then you go to custom. From custom, you find general here, because those are the numbers that you want. Just after the general, you type F, showing it is a forecast, and press OK. So all I'm showing is that this one is the actual. So if I wanted as well, 2022, I would put an A here. There's two numbers, guys. Don't worry, there's two numbers. But this one is an actual. Then I can even just show that F it means focus if I wanted to do that. Then I would say E or F, then I would say A. Obviously, you'd start with A if you're doing that. I'll create a legend and I'll say actual. But I don't want these ones to have so much visibility. So all I'll do, I'll dim their visibility, their shine, because I want you to concentrate on the numbers. So I'll do something like this. And maybe also change the font here. Presentation is key. So that one concentrates on these tables rather than on the legend. But all I'm showing that A you are seeing here, it actually represents actuals, whereas F represents focus. If you check the actual number that is there or text is 2022, there's no A or F because that is just for formatting purposes. You don't see it. You are not going to see it anyway. Venon and Eliza, how are you?
I'm okay, Coach. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank
good
you.
evening.
How is
Yeah.
everyone? Sorry for joining late, Coach.
No, it's understandable. We haven't been
Yes.
meeting for quite a long period of time. But this time around, we
Oh,
need
yeah,
to
sure.
try and crawl. If we cannot fly, if we cannot walk, let's try to crawl until we reach our destination, our promised land. So let's
yeah.
move on, guys.
Thank
So
you.
I just wanted to show you how you do your formatting. I hope you've gotten it. You press Control-1, you go to custom, you find general. After general, you type F or A. If it is E, you need to put inverted commas and type E. Again, close it in inverted comma. That's a coding that you will do, or you have to do. Then do not forget to have your legend down here. What that formatting means. If it's A, what we are saying is actual. So you find the actual number in here. If it's F, it's a forecast. So you want to focus from 2023 to 2027. And from your analysis, you have done your trend analysis. You have looked at all your numbers, whether you are using norm div, in finding the probability of that thing or whatever it is. But you have done your due diligence. You have trended, and you're very confident that in the next 5 years, your sales revenue is going to grow by 5%. All you need to do is to show it in here.
The relationship there. Like, okay.
So if you wanted, you can highlight the whole thing or you can go into one cell. I'm just trying to introduce you to shortcuts. As we move on, you actually get accustomed to them, be confident, and use the shortcuts because it's shortcuts that actually gives you the confidence. It's shortcuts even before you get to understand the nuances of all these things that you're doing, guys. It's a shortcut that makes people believe that you know what you're doing, even when you don't know, which is okay. You have to work in reverse. Let people know that you are a guru in these things, then start working in the reverse until you become a guru. That's the only burden that you're going to have. So I'm just highlighting there. So this is what we'll do because we want to grow this. So we said, how do we grow that? We pick this number, which is your actual sales. You absolute lock it, meaning that you lock both the column and the row. So you have a $sign before the letter, and you have a $sign after letter, meaning that you have actually absolutely locked that number, that cell. It will not move. It shall not move. So my laptop, I use FN, which is a key just next to control. I press F key, FN, and press the first row of the cells of the keyboard. They are what we call functional keys, where you have escape, F1, F2, F3, and I press F4 like this. For those that have better laptops, they don't need to press FN. They just go straight to F4. For those that have laptops not so good, but maybe like mine, jokingly so, they will press Shift and F4 key. It's a functional key. So you will see the dollar sign. As you press that F key, the dollar sign, they'll actually be moving from instead of actually having absolute, it will go to relative. It will go to mixed, then to go to relative where you don't have a dollar sign, and it's fine. So times, times, this is what now we'll do. Open bracket, 1 plus, we'll pick the growth rate, lock it as well, absolute locking. Then to the power, let me wait for you up to there. As I'm waiting for you, let me greet my good friend Zara. How are you?
Hi. Good evening, Coach.
Good
How
evening.
are you?
I'm fine.
Sorry, I'm using my phone, so I can't even practice. I felt guilty. I'm lying in bed, but I just thought at least if I just joined the lecture.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll still post it on YouTube in any case, but it's better that
Okay,
first
thank you.
to have this feel.
Oh,
Otherwise,
yes.
to post it on YouTube without you having this feel, to be very difficult for you to follow through.
That's true. Thank you.
The
And hi to everyone else.
teaching is about emotions. You need to feel the emotions that this is happening. That's how it
Yes.
is. So if you go on
Oh.
YouTube to check for any topic, as long as you are not part of those emotions, you will not understand anything. That's what I believe about education.
That's true.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Sure. So to the power, then pick this number here. Do not lock it because you want it to be moving from E3 to F3, G3 up to I3. So remember that you have locked D6, absolute locking, and you're growing by 5%. And that growth rate, you have locked it as well. But you have factors. That help you to grow it based on the period. And press Enter. So when you want to press Enter, since I had highlighted everything, I would just hold Control and press Enter key. What have I done? Sorry. Yeah, it's already done. I think it was taking time. So this is how the numbers would be. So we expect that by 2027, our revenues will grow from $5,015 in 2022 to $6,401 in 2027. Okay. So then you can, if you don't want to use this format or formula option, you can decide to use any other option. But for this class, we are actually going to use this other option here. So option number 2 is to make sure that we hold this number here, 2010, so that we have a number that grows like this, minus that. We have a number, don't do it. I'm just trying to show you, I'm going to delete this, like this. The number that grows from there and to continue growing like this. Where you are not going to put these numbers up there. You'll be a bit smart. You hold the actual year and the projected years, they'll actually be relative like this. I'll copy that since it's still the same format. Or for those who are not there, I'll do this, sorry. So of these numbers, this one I'll have it as 2022. Yeah. But then what we are saying is that presentation is key. You can come up with a legend like we have done here, but show this year, that year 2022, the question is it an actual year? Is it a forecasted year? What is it? So we know that what the numbers that you have in 2022 are actuals. And like I've said, if you check the credit, most of these credit ratings agencies, they'll do that. They'll show if that particular year is a forecast, you will show a forecast, which is an F. So in this case, we're saying 2022 is an actual. Do not be dumb doing this. This is the worst thing you ever do because this now becomes a text. You don't need to do that. You just need to put a format. Format this by pressing Control and 1. Go into the cell, press Control and 1. This is my favorite function for a shortcut, and I did mention to you at some point. So press Control and 1. You have this. Go to Custom. Under General there, just type A, meaning that this number here, you have formatted it with showing an A letter, which is representing actual numbers in that year, and press OK. For those that you're forecasting, you highlight like this, highlight the whole thing. Again, press Control 1. Go to Custom, Emmanuel. Go to General and press Type F like that. And press OK. You're too quiet. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sir, if it was in my class, serious class where you'll be writing exams, you'll definitely fail. You'll definitely fail. So let's move on. So now we are using a different formula, option. I'm just highlighting this thing because I don't want to start pulling the numbers. I just want, once I'm done, I press Control, I hold Control and press Enter, and everything is replicated. This is what I want to do. So in here, I'll type equals. Again, I'll pick the period in there. I'll have to lock it, absolute locking, FN F4. I'll lock it like this. Then I'll multiply, open bracket, 1 plus, I'll pick the growth rate in there. I'll also lock it, which is FN F4, at least on my laptop. I'll close it. From there, guys, pick to the power. Then I open bracket. Remember what I was doing? I'll pick E10. I'm not going to lock it. Minus. I'll pick D10, that period which I want to lock so that I hold it. And I'll lock it. And I'll close. Then I can hold Control and press Enter here. I'll still get the same numbers that are in option 1. I have my co-lecturer behind, so do not mind her. So I'll hold Control and press Enter. So it's the same numbers using different formula options. Are we there? Are we okay? We go to a small component. I know tomorrow we'll still meet. I'll first meet Zara in advanced financial reporting. I'm beginning to enjoy lecturing again, Zara. Okay. So now, at least I need someone I can be interacting with. All of you guys, you have muted. I don't know if you're sleeping or I'm just talking to myself.
We're here, coach. We're following.
I mean, not like I'm just
We're
recording
here.
myself. I don't want to feel like that.
No.
So what you should be live, that as I talk, I do the referencing and I'm able to get the voice.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So this is how it's done. I know immediately after this class, I'm going to post it on YouTube. Follow through, since you have these workbooks, follow through. But this is how it goes. Practice and practice and practice and practice until you become a guru. So I guess you understand the principles. Yes, Eliza, we can get you. The internet is extremely bad on your end. You should also buy a MiFi like I did.
You should get a MiFi, Eliza.
I'm able to tether using my phone, or I'm able to use the MiFi. So I've minimized the frequency of disappointing you guys. Okay, then now we got something slightly easier, but very important. I know when you start looking at data analytics, there will be a number of tools that we'll be using, but this is just basic thing that we can do. You understand when you are looking at even just a risk, guys, whenever you say expected return, all you're actually looking at, you're looking at an average return. There's a reason why you have these standard deviation returns, expected returns when you're looking at risk, quantifying risk or value at risk. There are quite a number of things that you need to look at. And data analytics helps you because all of you here, you deal with huge volumes of data and you need to know what tools to use to analyze it and how data must be analyzed. I'll ask you this question to Zara, deliberately so. Because
okay.
So I want to see.
You're embarrassing me, coach.
So I want to see. I'm asking, I'm putting on a spot. I want to see.
I know.
So let me say you have two families. These families, let me say it's you, Zara.
Yes.
You live in a shanty compound, an equivalence to Mrs. Compound. You have a friend who is Memory. She's a Facebook friend. You just met on Facebook. You know the advantage with the social media, and this is why I try by all means not to be there so often. What it has done, in those days, I'll tell you one thing. At least most of you are not there, maybe Zara and myself. Those days, it was, people respected time so much. There were no phones. So if I tell my friend, say I tell Philip, tomorrow on Saturday, and this is a Tuesday, for example, Philip on Saturday, let's meet at 14 hours. The thing that used to happen, the only meeting place where you are not going to disappoint each other because there were no phones was at the post office. Zara Ninama, it was at the post office. Our parents, when they're actually going to a tavern, those days, they would go fashionably dressed in a very nice attires, and they'll go to a tavern where they'll go and drink chiwuku. They never disappointed each other in terms of time. When they say we are going to meet in the next 2 weeks, or on the second week of February or December at 14 hours, truly they will meet without a phone. They respected time. This time now we have phones. And during that time, for your sake, during that time, it was not possible having a person that, for example, lives in a shanty compound, getting into a relationship with a person that lives in, for example, in low density areas, say Kablonga in the case of Zambia. It was not possible. So the rich, before social media memory, the rich, they were marrying off each other. The poor were marrying off each other. And the gap becoming bigger. And that's just a fact. But now, because of social media, people, they have discovered an art of embellishing who they are, showing that they are doing fine, even though they're not doing fine. By the time you get to realize that this was fake life, you're already in marriage and you have 2 children, so you just have to stay because you've been told biblically that you can't leave as long as there's no doubt that thing. So, and that was how life was. But this time, we are very lucky. There's social media. There's the cross-pollination of lifestyles and even just faking reality. Now, I'm saying Zara lives in a shanty compound, equivalent maybe to Mrs. Memory lives in a low density area, equivalent to, I don't know, which is the most lowest density area now in Lusaka. Okay, let's take Kablonga. I'm still used to Kablonga. Zara has a 12-year. For example, son. He's at Kamulanga. Those that don't know where Kamulanga School is, who knows where Kamulanga School is?
I do.
You know, okay, Mano, you know. Just near Mrs. there. Is it around Jackie area?
Wow.
Around that.
Yes, Kamulanga is in between Jack and Kamala South. So, so the son goes to Kamulanga School, and it's just convenient because the mother lives in Mrs. compound. The son is in grade, let's say, 6. This side Memory has a daughter. is also 12 years. So 12-year daughter is at Baobab. They are just almost in the neighborhood, but just that Baobab is an international school, extremely expensive. This side is free education in a shanty compound between Jackie and Kamala South, and in neighborhood to Mrs. The other persons at international school, they are in the same grade. So those a term exam, we can even say mid-term exam, it doesn't matter. This guys is data analytics. You'll see what I'm trying to do. Mid-term exam in maths. So the one that is at Kamlanga, in that exam in maths, got 70. The one at Baobab got 62. These are mid-term exams. Who among these two performed well? Zara, I'm putting on the spotlight.
When you say what is the 70 a percentage? Is it out of
70. Sorry. Sorry. Mhm.
or percent?
This one got 62. A
Zara's
mid-term.
son. Zara's
Who
son did better.
Yeah?
I'm guess Zara's son.
Your son performed well, huh?
Yes. Got 70%.
Obviously, you have to support. You have to support your local team. Memory.
Yes, coach. Who performed better?
Who performed well?
Is it fair to compare them not knowing the content of the midterm exam? What if
Oh, yeah.
Zara's son was writing 1 + 1 and memory as
Same grade.
That's a
DYD?
good point. Yeah.
No, same grade.
Okay, same grade. Well, I would say the quality of the schools and the curriculum are different, even in as much as they're in the same grade. But the numbers speak for themselves. Zara's son performed better.
Okay, Emmanuel.
I think Zara's son performed well.
Zara, you're trending.
Yeah, I do.
Venon.
My analysis would be
We can assume that, so then Zara got better mark or a higher percentage than memory son.
Okay, I'm liking this.
Oh.
Venon.
okay. My analysis would be Zara's son got 70%, Memory's daughter got 62%, quite okay. But now we need to go deeper to analyze what factors were involved to drive at these percentages, because you find that maybe the one at Baobab, they're what can I say? Can you say experienced teachers or highly, the quality is high? Then the other one, the quality is low.
Maybe
But
Venom.
now,
Oh, sorry. Go on. Sorry.
okay. Oh,
Continue, Venom. Sorry.
okay. Coach has disappeared.
No, I'm around. I'm very much
It's still
around.
here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, so we need to look at those ingredients. Then once we have, and in addition to that, we also need to look at how many children
Hello, have we lost you?
I think he's gone. I was going to say, I guess Vernon, I think he's trying to say we need to analyze in terms of depending on maybe the paper that Zara's son wrote was a lower, because maybe it's not a higher standard paper. So maybe on that basis, it could be 70%, but maybe in terms of the content of the work, maybe the student from Baobab, the work was at a much higher level. I think it's not, I don't think it really depends on the number of children. That doesn't matter. Because if they wrote the exact same paper, whether there were 10 children in one class or 20 in the other one, but if they wrote the exact same paper and those are the marks, then definitely Zara's kid did better. But maybe we have to have other factors considered. What type of paper was it? What quality? Was it at a higher standard with one? Was it the same? I'm just guessing.
Maybe we're also playing a big bias to the names of the schools, because if it's grade six in Kablonga is grade 6 in Kamlanga. At the end of the day, these people will still be put on the same pedestal when if it's grade 7 or whatnot. If they've got the same curriculum, maybe the percentage shouldn't really be attached to the names of the schools and how much people pay the school fees. I don't know.
So now I bring in more data on this.
Yes.
So class average. What do you say?
Definitely the standard of we need more data, coach, because that class average at Baobab is below 50%. That's not very good. The other one, the Mississippi one, the class average is quite high.
Meaning your son in that category didn't do so well.
Exactly, yes. He
in
didn't do as well. Yes.
So I'll tell you one thing. My daughter used to get surprised at when she was at LISEF. Because at LISEF, what they do is it's an Islam school. They don't show class positions. So they only show what this student got or learner and the average. So my daughter will have numbers like this.
I think Emmanuel needs to mute.
Mute Emmanuel. So my daughter will have numbers like this. Then I'll tell her that improve in history and English. And I'll award her in mathematics. She would not understand it. Then I'd explain to her that if the class average was 45, it means that a number of learners in that class, you did better than a number of learners in that class. The only thing that, at least if they were not showing, which they don't do in most of these schools, is standard deviation to check the difference between the maximum and the lowest. the one that performed well and the one that performed badly. So that gap, if it was there, I would even know that maybe that 54% is coming because the best student got maybe 90, and the others were getting in 40, in 13, whatever, and because the gap was big, the gap was big. So it managed to affect the average. Then I would tell her, improve in English and in history. There it means that in that class, it doesn't matter how many they were, but just that class average, it tells me that she performed worse off than a number of students in that class. For her, she would see this 90 and say, obviously, that is going to be happy. But my interest will be, I'm comparing with the class average. So you cannot compare data. What you are doing there, you cannot compare data without averages, without deviations, standard deviations between the maximum and the minimum. So if I'm using on this class averages, it doesn't matter the exam. These people were midterm. So the midterm exam, what it does mean is that the specific teacher decided to give them that particular, or that school decided to give them that exam. It's a midterm. So the only thing I would be able to deduce is the class averages. So I'm able to see that Memory's daughter in that class, she's far, far much better than the class average. Whereas the other side, as much as she got 70, I should not be blindfolded or blindfooled by the school. This side where it's at Kamlanga, where it's 70, the class average was around 85. This son did not, Zara's son did not perform well. So as you look at data, please don't look at data in the absolute terms. Look at other data sets that will help you to analyze it. And Excel has a plethora of quite a number of functions that you can use or tools that you can use to analyze this data. So these are the things that we'll look at, and we close shop. So the first thing.
Oh, I was just going to ask, when you analyze, like the example you've given us, but when you look at that class average for Baobab, shouldn't that worry you that this school, the children are not performing that well because the class average is less than 50%?
To not worry me, for a simple reason that it depends also what was actually said. It's okay. It reflects more on the teacher than the student, than my daughter or my son. But at least I know that my son, if it was, for example, my son got 10% and the class average was 5%, it doesn't matter. I know that my son did better. Than if my son gets 90% and the class average is 95. That is how data must be analyzed.
Really?
Is it fair to gauge the success based on the other's performance?
So when I look at a group of learners, I know for sure that in that particular class, if my son got 10% and the class average was 5, my son most likely could have even topped the class. So possibly they have been asked the questions or examined on questions on things that as a class collectively, they never actually got to understand them, but that doesn't mean that they are down.
No, that's right, yeah.
All I'm interested in is how is my son performing against all the class or in comparison to the class averages. How is my son performing? So this is what I'm saying. I would congratulate her in mathematics, where she gets 54, class average is 45. Then in English, where she gets 90, and the class average is 93, because already I know that she performed badly in terms of the class. Yes,
But
the
maybe
number.
the people, I was just going to say, maybe the people in her class are just, not that she's done well, but the people in her class are just high performers. Like, I'll give you an example. The school that my daughter goes to is called, it's a grammar school.
You say when you are
And
working there, Zara, why should you say, I performed lower than everybody else because all my workmates, they're high performers? You're insulting yourself. It's not a compliment. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's like someone who gets
know.
it's like someone who gets a Labor Day award, and there's this award is called the most productive at the most improved employee. For me, I would not even get that. I was okay, give me the money, but don't give me the award. Meaning all these years, there's nothing I was doing. I just improved just in that year. Okay. Yes, that's me. Let's move on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So here then first you get the total amount out equals to have that amount. Under maximum price, maximum, you know, you use your max. There's a function called max. You want to check who got the highest. And that's the data that we needed to decide to see who got the highest. Maybe here where you have English at 90% and average of 93, maybe the highest just got 25. Mm-hmm. So I'll do this, pick the max. So I know the max, but I also need to know the mean. Because mean, you pick that and press mean. You want to know how many? So the item count, the equals count. We're going to count all those there. If all this helps you, the average sales, your average, your average is your mean, guys. I have a mean there. Deviation is basically your maximum less your minimum. That's spread. You want to know that spread. That between the highest and the lowest, the gap is 80. So if the deviation is much lower, it means that your data is much. There are no big gaps between the highest and the lowest, and everything else falls between those two. So if I knew, for example, that here the deviation, STD, sorry. If I knew that the standard deviation here is maybe, let me say 20%. Though I'm not supposed to put a percentage of standard deviation, but it's fine. Then here it is 15%. If say here the standard deviation is 5%, then here the standard deviation is 15%. It will tell me that the lower the difference between the highest and the lowest, it shows that as much as my daughter got this 90, was still within that class pack. So there was somewhere getting 91, 91.5, 90.5, what? The difference between the highest and the lowest is around that. So I know that if the standard deviation is much lower, it means that data is closely related. And this is why you do that correlation thing. If you find in a company where the highest, say for example, gets 700 kwacha, the lowest gets 50 kwacha, that gap, that's your standard deviation. The higher that gap, the more things can be analyzed on that. You find there, like I'll give you examples. Zara, I don't know if you know, the Scandinavian countries, the gap between the highest paid person and the lowest is so minimal. Norway, Sweden, in places which are capitalist, say for example, UK, you find that the highest in the company, the highest paid and the lowest is very huge. If you go to Norway, most of those Norwegian companies, you will find that there's no motivation for a cleaner to start thinking of becoming a carpenter or becoming a medical doctor, because the difference in terms of the salary is extremely low. So what she would do is that she craft her skill in cleaning, because that's what she does. If he's a carpenter who also craft his skill in that particular area, is not supposed to think of, no, me and now I need to become a doctor because I'll be getting more money than I do get now. And we have seen it in most of these organizations where we find that electricians are moving from being electricians to actually being engineers, going to study engineering, going to study their degree level. We are seeing technicians, accounting technicians. Is it AAT? That program was specifically for accounting technicians in a booming economy where it's extremely productive. These are the guys who do variance analysis and the like. So you have that and you think you are inadequate because the person that they're calling as a chartered accountant is getting more money than yourself. Then you want to go and do a chartered accounting program. It does not make sense. Why? Because the gap between the highest and the lowest is extremely high. But in societies like I told you, Sweden and Norway, the difference between the CEO and the cleaner is so minimal. Actually, no one would want even to get more money because we'll be taxed more. Zara, are you getting me? Am I offline? I might be talking to myself.
No,
we are getting a question.
Okay, so we'll end here. Today's class will end here. At this, we have done exactly 1 hour. Let's find time again tomorrow. So I'll ask for you guys to check out, you know, the tradition. I'll start with memory.
Okay, good evening once more, class, and thanks for the informative lecture, Coach. And it's good to be back after some time. Today's lesson was obviously eye-opening. I got to understand a lot more on how to analyze data and just what to look for to make a proper analysis. And that is being the average, the importance of the average and the deviation numbers. So looking forward to sprinting.
Yeah. Zara? I'm sleeping. during time of COVID, you know, these online meetings, people just leave it on, yet they are not there. Yet they are not there. So it seems Zara, she's not there. Then over to you.
Me? Is
Hey,
it me
man.
or Vernon? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, well, so the class was good, and I think I've learned a lot in terms of data analysis, you know, additions, and also, you know, how to put in, you know, like formulas for you to compute, you know, when more especially where you have got huge data. Yeah, you just insert the formula and such as, you know, you look like the example that we had on these variables and the growth cells and all that kind of stuff, as well as, you know, when you're analyzing data, you don't just need to, you need to have additional information, such as, you know, average and standard deviation, minimum, maximum, you get the difference, which is, of course, number of counts, cells, and all that kind of stuff for you to make an informed decision. Yeah, so at least I think we are moving forward, though I think we need more of, you know, practice for us to get used to these shortcuts. Thank you.
Thank you, Vernon.
Thank you, Coach. With me, my take home is I would talk of the power of control one. I've seen that control one is something which can make your work easier. And I've learned how to come up with let's say the actual for 22, where you put A, for forecast, where you put F, because I've been wondering all along how people were coming up with the search, but at least I've seen that I'm at a different level now. Then in addition to that, though I missed the analysis part, I went offline, but I'll be able to go through the video. Then also the power of mean, max, average, and count. I think this one I've seen that it's something which is helpful, more especially when you're trying to, you have a lot of data. Now we're trying to come up with summarized information. These tools, they're really helpful. I submit, Coach.
Thank you. Elisa, Zara, show close.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry to follow, and hopefully I'll fully understand as I watch the video. But basically, what interests me the most was the scenario you gave about the two learners from the two different schools. It just gives more reason to investigate a number and not just look at it from the onset. So I really appreciated the points brought out on data comparison and analysis, and how we need to, how the average plays an important role in ascertaining as to whether, for instance, in the case we had, whether the learners performed well or not. I only missed the part where you talked about the deviations. I would really want to know what would happen if, what the outliers would do to the grade. That is the lowest mark and the highest mark.
Thank you. Thank you. You watched the video, but there'll be more to do with as we go through these expected returns. I mean, this course, I'm getting bored. So I would want it to even go on so much forever. So there'll be quite a number of things that you're actually going to learn in terms of how you contextualize data and get those things that you cannot see, tie different dots and come up with an analysis. So we'll be doing quite a number of things, but just get to know that average concept of average is a miracle concept.
Investigate data values more. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Zara?
Oh yes. Hi. Sorry I joined the class quite late. But yes, my take home. I like the shortcuts in terms of when you're analyzing data. If you have a lot of data, how you can quickly get your maximum, minimum figure, and average. That's really good. And just count the count. I'm going to start practicing and using those a lot. And was it Elizabeth, I think, that mentioned the example that you gave of the two learners? That was really interesting in terms of how you need more information to analyze data. It's not just about looking at one figure where we had, 70% is higher. Actually, what else is going on? What's the average? I didn't realize how important an average is in terms of when it comes to analyzing data. So looking forward to what else, to the rest of the classes, actually. Yes. So thank you for tonight and for the lesson, and good night, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tim. I apologize again once more that we haven't been meeting in the last, I think, 2 weeks or so. Please accept my apology. I've been quite busy, and I'm not seeing this busy season going anytime soon, but we'll need to just endure and improvise. As long as I'm within the city, we'll try to be meeting as scheduled. Tomorrow, okay, we have got a new Eliza. You're saying, in case not audible, my take home is data comparison and the quantity of the average to data being analyzed. We thank you for that. There'll be more data analysis as we move on. There are quite a number of sophisticated tools, Excel tools that will be used just to arm you so that it becomes easier when you're actually analyzing data. You don't need to go very far. Your Excel or spreadsheet gives you those tools that you can use for data analysis. And like I said, my apologies. We haven't met even for 2 weeks or so. I've been extremely busy. I think you can even see my face. My face looks so stressed. But please, I'll assure you just here that we will continue meeting as scheduled. Whenever I don't have a bit of some time, don't get worried. I'll still get back to you, and we'll definitely be on course. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely night.
Coach.
Lovely night. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank
And
you
thank
very
you for
much,
your time.
Coach.
Thank you.
Everyone.